All right. Let's do
What's
it.
up with us? Happy
We
Wednesday,
are back, right?
sir.
That's right. What is this, Wednesday? Like you said, Rob?
Wednesday, Doc. Happy Wednesday. What's going on?
Yeah. June the 4th is upon us. We got a lot of things to discuss. We missed you guys, specifically me. I was overseas, and the fellas, again, they were just doing their thing. Rob's still posting. Gary's still traveling, doing this thing. JQ, I don't know, watching NHL stuff. We're here. We're back. Gentlemen, how are you guys feeling this evening? You guys ready? Watch some sports?
Let's make it different. What is that, man? An old school Dolphins jersey you wearing?
It is, man. It is. Let's go.
Oh, nice.
I'm just having a little fun, man. I wanted to switch it up. Rob inspired me, man. Again, we throw different uniforms on. It's all in fun. We're gonna go around the horn and kind of check with you guys. Rob, in Germany, have you ever seen white asparagus before?
Yes, it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I took a picture. I was gonna send it to you a little later too. But yeah, white asparagus. I had a chance to experience that. They had it in the soup form. They had it also in obviously stock form. So I was like, man, look at this. I would have an amazing time too. So I didn't know if you had a chance to.
Purple asparagus, white asparagus. Oh,
Sure indeed. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, white asparagus is good. It's good for you too.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking all that junk, and look at JQ. JQ just
purple potato is good for you too.
What's that, Rob?
Purple potato is good for you too.
They are good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
JQ,
what's up, y'all?
What's happening, brother? We can't see you, man.
I'm good. At least I told you in advance. I said I was coming.
I was telling the fellas, like, man, it's not like we knew the show was gonna be at 10 o'clock. It's like, not like it's like a surprise. Like,
Easy, killer. I had other stuff I was doing and I needed a break.
All right, it's all good.
Gary said, we know JQ marches to the beat of his own drum, so let him be.
You're having fun. JQ,
Rob, here we go, Rob. Here we go.
You know what I do though, so I'm not mad at that.
I actually said that.
I do, and that's okay.
JQ, there's a lot of love for you, man. It's never a personal shot. I'm not trying to bring you down. I was just like, come on, man. It was funny.
Oh man, he was dissing on you big time.
So, you know what? It's okay. It's good. It's good for ratings.
Andre was cursing about you the same way he was cursing about the dude that left the Hawks to go to Milwaukee to draft Giannis Antetokounmpo. Larry Drew.
Wow. Hey, don't stand next to the window, Rob. Do not stand next to the window, man. Don't do that.
Hey, lightning in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow, we're not gonna go there. Hey, like I said, we're kind of giddy, everyone. We missed last week, so we got a lot of jokes. We're ripping each other, having a good time. Let's go around the horn and check with everyone before we get to these amazing topics, as always. So, JQ, how you feeling, sir?
Hey man, I am good, bro. I am good. I missed this last week, but I'm good. Just you know how it is, taking care of the kids, riding around. I gotta go do some traveling. I'll keep you guys posted. 2 weeks, I gotta go to Indianapolis for
let's go
for a conference.
Yeah, that's where I'm from, man. That's my hometown right there.
It's just Indianapolis. Nobody else. Sorry, that was a straight bullet. But yeah, so I got travel coming up for work, but I'm glad to be on with y'all, man.
JQ, it's not nothing. It's not like I'm just like, ooh, I'm just like happy that, again, it's nothing really in Indianapolis, but they used to make fun of me for corn and cows.
No,
it's not really. It was just more or less like, yeah, that's where I was born, man. That's pretty much,
I know. I'm just giving you shit. I'm just playing.
I'll get Gary. What's up, my guy? Tell me what's going on in your world, man.
Man, I was planting trees today.
Were you really?
Oh,
man, nobody wants to hear that nonsense.
Oh yeah.
Are you back in Florida, Gary? Or are you still traveling?
Oh no, I'm back. I'm back home.
Oh yeah, so it's real. When you're back home, it's the honey to-do list. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to this nursery, and Arnetta picks all of these trees, not plants. trees. So they bring them over in a truck and they back them up and they bring them into my backyard. And I'm digging these holes that are just. I needed help from you young guys, especially JQ. He's got a good back.
JQ, yeah.
You know the fuck I don't. Excuse me. No, I don't.
JQ. Oh man.
Gary, you're doing more work now than you did before you retired.
No shit. Hey, Rob,
I need to go back to work so I can avoid the honeydew list. I'm going back to work. Love it. Rob Ford, what's going on, sir?
Hey, man, doing great, man. This weather here in Vegas is amazing, man. I tell you, 86 degrees feels like 70 degrees back in the South.
Nice.
Yeah, listen. Keep on living. Tell me how you feel in August.
Yeah, wait till it's 117 at midnight.
It's around the corner. Yep. But so it's 86 degrees, and where I'm from in New Orleans or Florida, Houston, Atlanta, some of the places I've lived, you soaking wet. Yeah,
that's also a true statement.
Like a cool front.
Wow. Wow. That's
Okay.
hilarious. Yeah. Woo! All right, let's get this party started really quickly. Thank you for joining us. As always, a couple things to find us as we kind of get our foot under us. We've been having fun with the new format. We'll see how this plays out. It's been having a lot of fun. It allows us to stream on Facebook, which you're watching us now. That Facebook page is always the same. It's facebook.com/talking sports with the 12th man. If you put in 12th man sports, you will find us in that arena, as well as all the posts, all the videos, the mock drafts that Rob posted for 22 hours. We're going to talk about that tonight. We are on X or Twitter, which is at the number 12, THMAN Sports, just a little ticker. And then YouTube, another 12th Man Sports. We'll get that going as well. That is there to kind of get some long-form content. We'll kind of fill out the page as we continue to move this platform and this journey on for this amazing podcast. So, gentlemen, right off the gate, the Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau. So let's talk about some next steps and potential replacements. Apparently, shout out to Naj as well, because he was like, yeah, man, they're looking for an offensive coach. And I was like, I don't know if offense is the answer, but Rob, talk about some potential replacements and next steps and kind of your thoughts on that move.
First off, I think it's flat out bogus that he got fired. 5 years in is the best Knicks season they've had since the year 2000.
Right.
I just don't understand it. And I've always said the NBA is a players' league. The only thing I can think of, some of the stars on the team must not have liked him, right? And that's the only reason. It goes back to Magic Johnson when he got Paul Westphal fired, and ever since then you've seen a string of star players. If they didn't like the coach, they got him fired. You're gonna keep the star player and fire the coach. So that's the only thing I can think of. But from the outside looking in, it just seems very bogus to me after they had a very successful season. And to me, they need a hard ass kind of coach like Thibodeau, especially to get Brunson and Towns, who's their two best offensive players. They don't play any defense, and so I think that was very disappointing. The Knicks are not my favorite team, but they're just one of those kind of teams you look for. It's good for the NBA, when they're competing, late in the season. So definitely, I just don't understand the firing. But now since they have fired him, I think the name that comes to everybody's mind is Mike Malone, right? He won the championship a few years ago with the Denver Nuggets. He's actually from the New York area as well, right? He's another guy to me that didn't deserve to be fired either. And so he's the first guy that comes to mind. Obviously, Taylor Jenkins, he's had some success with the Memphis Grizzlies as well. There's some talk of Jeff Van Gundy too, right? They may kick the tires. I think he's alone. I think Mike Malone and Taylor Jenkins, to me, are the two guys at the top of the list. And when you look at some guys that could be long shots, Jeff Van Gundy, they could possibly kick the tires with Danny Hurley. His wife is from the New Jersey area, right across the river. I know she likes living in the Northeast. The reason why she turned down the Lakers. So they could possibly kick the tires with Danny Hurley. Hey, Jay Wright, you got like 4 Villanova guys on that team. They helped win a championship. Well, 3 right now. They traded DiVincenzo. So they have 3 guys. So you might kick the tires with a Jay Wright as well. Another guy that could be interesting is Mike Budenholzer. Not hearing a lot of people talk about him for this position. He's another guy that's won a championship, and I think he's another guy that's gotten some unjustifiable firings as well. So he could be a sleeper. And then some real long shots. Johnny Bryant, one of the assistants for the Cleveland Cavs. He was an assistant for Tom Thibodeau for a long time. He really helped turn that Cavs team and had the best record in the Eastern Conference, even though they got eliminated in the playoffs. And then another guy, Rick Brunson, Jalen's dad, right? So that could be another guy that could possibly be a long shot for the position as well. But the guy I would go after would definitely be Mike Malone, number one.
Yeah.
And some of these other guys on the list, I think, will be secondary in the event they can't get Mike Malone. That's just me on the outside looking in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think what happened.
Go ahead, JQ.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is I just don't think the Van Gundy thing is going to happen because he and Thibodeau are apparently really, 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 really good friends. And I just don't see a way that Thibodeau get fired. But I thought more about this today. The problem with Thibodeau is the fact that he misses no games and hasn't complained in all these years until this year about the minutes that he's played under Tom Thibodeau. I think that was the one that we just didn't pay enough attention to earlier, right? Remember when he was like, dude, we're playing too many minutes, yada, yada, yada. You have to develop that bench early in the season to get a rotation down, to get people in their proper places so they know what roles they have. And when you're only going 5, 6, maybe 7 deep in the playoffs, and the teams who are playing for the finals are going 9 or 10 deep, and they're playing not necessarily well. Oklahoma City is playing really good defense. Indiana's giving up points, but they're rotating players in, and keeping their stars fresh, and that's what killed New York. And I think Tom just refuses to develop a bench and go deep in the bench. He said, man, I'm buying these starters. We paying $50 million a year. You bitches is playing. And that's what got Tom fired. And I'm sorry, Marcy, for cussing. But that's what got him fired, is what it was, is that you have to go into the season and identify 3 or 4 people that say, hey, I need these guys to be he cost him. And for him to get another in the NBA with a good team and a good situation, he's going to have to look himself in the mirror and say, hey, man, you can't – listen, I know you want to ride your stars and ride them hard and let them, no Diddy. You want them to be what they need to be for the team, but you got to have a bench, and that's what cost him.
Yeah.
That's crazy because they had never been to the Eastern Conference Finals in a while, so you see the progress, but then everybody's going to say Boston had injuries, Cleveland had injuries, so they're not giving Tom the credit for making the Eastern Conference Finals because he felt like he got there injury laden and they didn't go to the finals when they had this their best chance this year. It was their best chance to get to the finals and maybe try to sneak a championship, even though I think Oklahoma City would have beat the brakes off of them. But I think the New York brass sat back and said, come on, man, you got to have a bench. And it's not just right now. It's just you just have never established a bench, and that's what you have to have moving forward.
Yeah, you spot on with that. And one thing
you have,
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't have the confidence in those guys on the bench.
That's
what I was about to get to. They spent so much, in acquiring Karl Anthony Towns and acquiring Mikal Bridges this past offseason. It really depleted their depth on their roster. Now, their top 6 players, Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, obviously they have an impact. But you when you start naming the guys outside of the top 6, Miles McBride, Andre Peterson, JQ Peterson. JQ Jenkins. I'm sorry. Cameron Payne, Tyler Kolek, Landry Shaman, DeLon Wright, PJ Tucker. He's a veteran. He probably is the guy they could have used to get some spare minutes.
No,
you're forgetting one, Rob.
He just had to be a veteran.
I'm not sure. He's a guy that I think they could have developed to even get some more minutes as well.
Rob, you're forgetting one. You're forgetting one important guy on the Knicks, and that's Gary Schaefer, the ball boy.
Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh goodness.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing, though. But here's the thing. I'm not saying that you're wrong in that. But if
You
you
got to blame
are
the GM
the
for some of
brass
that.
and you're looking at Tom Thibodeau, you have to play them early and watch them fail to make Leon Rose and them go make a move at the trade deadline to go get help for the bench. He never did that early enough in the season, so he didn't prove to the world that I'm not playing these guys just because I just want to play them. He said I'm playing them because the dudes off the bench. You seen them. I played them out here and they sucked, so I couldn't play them no more. But he never proved that to the world, so here we are.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, obviously, the GM deserves some of that blame, and also Thibodeau deserves some of that blame. But some of these guys have been on some playoff teams and had an impact. Cameron Payne, you saw him on a Phoenix Suns team that went to the finals a couple of years
ago. He even played for the Knicks.
He
plays for the Knicks.
Landry Shamet, you saw him come off the bench for the Clippers during the playoffs a few times. You know, so they do. And Precious Achiuwa is a guy I think is talented. At least come in and rebound and defend, right? Even if he doesn't give you any scoring. So no, I think there've been, and some of that goes on Thibodeau not developing. Some of that's on the DM. Some of that's they traded so many of the assets to get Towns and Bridges. I mean, they don't have anybody that can come off the bench and just kind of light it up. But they needed to. They needed some guys that can come in and at least get you some minutes. And I think there's a lot of blame to go around. I don't think it's all on Thibodeau, though.
Well, the thing of it is, you guys, is the Knicks overachieved.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
So they overachieved, and I don't think none of us were, we weren't expecting this type of performance from the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks were as well. So it came to a complete surprise.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it's tough when you talk about it, Rob.
And they were in it. It's not like they got blown out.
And they gave game one away. They gave game one away. That could be a completely different series if they hadn't gave game one away. They gave it away.
There it is.
Yeah, well, I think we were on a call of game one, and we were all saying the game was over, and all of a sudden,
that last shot,
Tyrese Halliburton threes to the overtime. The last time we were on a call, that was the night of game one, and we all thought the game was over. We thought the Knicks had won the game, and I said, "Fellas, this is a 2-point game."
Yeah, that's right.
And all of a sudden, came back and won the game in overtime. Yeah. Tyrese Halliburton gave him the choke.
Yeah.
That's Reggie Miller gave him the choke signal.
The Knicks' worst nightmare. And just to kind of wrap a bow on this, and it goes back, I think this could be a kind of an interesting case for a lot of coaches, right? Because, shout out Marcia. She always talks about how Steve Kerr has developed talent, what's happened with Kuminga. This can literally go around the league as far as, you're not doing a good job of evaluating talent, at least developing talent.
Kuminga, man. You're right. You're spot on with that, man. It seems like he should be doing a lot more in the league. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the coaching.
So much more.
I don't know. Did Draymond Green punch him in the face in practice, and he's just not into it anymore, or and we don't know about? I don't know.
Wow. We'll talk about that too.
He's one of those guys that just shines during practice and then gets under the lights and kind of.
He's extremely athletic. He's got the athleticism, no doubt about it.
So let's talk about this. And Rob, a nice segue as we go to the situation too, because New York, they only have one pick in the 2025 draft. That's the 50th pick, if I'm not mistaken. They forfeited their 60th pick, if I'm not mistaken, Rob. So we can talk about that as well if I'm looking at this correctly too, man. So even if there's not a lot of help going, I don't think there's a lot of help coming in the form of the draft either. So I was looking at the NFLDraft.net. Looks like they had the 50th pick in the second round, and they forfeited their other pick, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, they traded a lot of assets to get Mikal Bridges and Towns. I think they gave up like 5 first-round picks for a combination of those two.
They did.
Trades.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a couple.
Yeah. So they gave up a lot of assets. So they're gonna have to find a way to get some bargains in free agency or some trades. I mean, I know part of the topic is how the Pacers and how did the
Thunder
DC built their roster.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I mean, some of those guys they traded like second round picks and turned them into contributors. right?
Still my Thunder, Rob.
And,
It's still my Thunder. I can't we talk about that?
Yeah.
One player.
Yeah. But we'll get into that in a second. But they're gonna have to be real creative and hit on some moves that's going to be able to continue to keep them under the cap, right? So that's going to be. I mean, right now they're right at the cap because they spent so much on Towns. Now Brunson gave him a break. Brunson's only got like $110 million contract, so that kind of helped them to get Towns and Bridges, and of course OG Anunoby. And but they're gonna have to be creative and finding a way to get some more depth on that roster because right now they just don't have any depth that can have a huge impact on that.
And maybe that's going to contribute as to which coach actually takes that job too. We're going to look at what they've got coming up, where they're at. If they've got one pick, what can we do? What am I going to be allowed to do? These are going to be these coaches that have a little, credibility. Those top three coaches that you mentioned earlier, Rob. These guys, that would be something that I would say. I would want to know, okay, I want control of this. We don't have the draft picks, but we need to bring some talent around this starting five. So you need to help me with this.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, we talk about Tom Thibodeau and not developing the bench, but a lot of people say that's the reason why Mike Malone got fired in Denver too. You look at that Denver team; they were not under Mike Malone. They were not playing the bench a lot.
Nope.
Now Adelman, the interim coach, started playing the bench a little bit more in the playoffs, and they started getting some guys that was providing some decent production. But that was one of the reasons why Mike Malone got fired too. So it'd be very curious.
Well,
if that's the reason Thibodeau got fired and they hired Malone, that was one of the reasons why he got fired.
He did, but the big reason was Russell Westbrook. From what I read, was that he just loved Russell Westbrook, and he wouldn't, when he was having bad games, he wouldn't sub him out and put the bench in because of Russell. So Russell just out here. Wait a minute, man. Do you have a Dolphins jersey on?
That's right.
I said the same thing. He got an old school Dolphins jersey.
So now we're just ridiculous. Okay.
It's a sports talk show. I'm just pulling out different stuff, man. I was like, oh, let's go.
The good thing about it is, if a Dolphin fan come across our show, they'll stop jersey on. So that's the benefit of wearing some different jerseys.
Let's go, Rob. Let's go. That's right. We'll talk about how we became fans because
you know what, Gary? I'm just gonna talk to you, Gary, because clearly me and you are the only ones to just stay loyal to where you are. Rob is out here making videos with every damn T-shirt and hat on made in America. Like he must just have a sponsorship with Nike or Liz. Just damn.
He's just got an unlimited budget.
There it is.
And now we got him on the Dolphins. Like, what are we doing? Like we are staying with our teams when we are out here doing
marketing,
this.
Man. That's marketing.
You see this? You see that? Come on.
Yep, FAMU, right? Hey, if you want, and I'm wearing a Rays, man. At least I lived in Tampa, for some years, and I still have a home there too. So,
yeah, it's all good.
Just because you got a rental property don't mean that you care about the damn Rays. Anyway, go ahead, Dre.
Let's have some fun here, Rob. So let's talk about the mock draft now. Just to let you guys know, it seems like it's going to be interesting after kind of the first three picks. It looks like, obviously the first top two, Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper. I was a fan of Ace Bailey, so I found out that Ace Bailey is not 6'9", but he's actually like 6'5". So anyway, that's probably
Listen. Ace Bailey was giving the USA team the work this summer. So I don't care if he's 6'9" or 6'5". I know what I saw and I know what I heard from dudes like LeBron and everybody else about how he was giving them that business. So whatever.
I don't think he's 6'5". I think he's taller than 6'5". Yeah.
They said he measured a little shorter than what we thought. We thought he was like 6'9".
He's probably about 6'7".
People thought he was like 6'9", 6'10", but I think he's more like 6'8", maybe not 6'5". He's not that short.
I would say 6'7".
I'm gonna look it up because they said literally they measured him at the end and they're like he wasn't as tall as they thought he was. Like, oh, so that was interesting, So
that's just to make them think twice about it so they could probably trade the one pick and go get him and draft the same guy. You know how this goes before the draft.
Oh, I know how it goes. It's like I said, it was like I was like there was a couple of things that he wasn't as there's some challenges they had in the draft. But hey, go ahead, man. I just thought that was interesting. So
Come on, Rob, give us your NBA mock.
Yeah, here we go. Number one, no surprise, Dallas, Cooper Flag. Man, pair him with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis, along with some of the depth that they have on their team. Man, they automatically, if they're healthy, could probably be a contender for a championship in the Western Conference. So they got to be healthy, of course. That's going to be the big key. And the Spurs, number two. Now, this pick cookie package to the Bucks for Giannis. You know, they could be in play to add Giannis to the mix. But I got Dylan Harper, who I think can play the 1 or the 2 in the NBA. You know, obviously we know the story. Ron Harper's son, 6'5". Like I said, I think he can play point guard or the 2 position as well. So whether the Spurs keep this pick or not, I think he could. Another guy. This is a really good draft too, by the way. And Ace Bailey, I'm a fan of Ace Bailey at number 3 for the Sixers. This could be a steal. He's a guy that can stretch the floor. He can shoot it from the outside. He can defend. Some of his ball handling has to improve, but obviously the 2 main things is that he can shoot the basketball and he can defend. So at worst, you got a 3-and-D guy on your roster there. So I like Ace Bailey. VJ Edgecombe, number 4. I got him going to the Charlotte Hornets. I think I've said on this show before, I think he has the potential to be a Dwayne Wade kind of player. I think his floor is Victor Oladipo. He's 6'4", he's got long arms, he can defend. His offensive game needs to improve a little bit, but he will be an elite defender in the NBA. Trey Johnson, 6'9", shooting guard / small forward from Texas, averaged over 19 points a game last year at Texas. He'll be a guy that can come in and shoot the basketball right away for you. Got him going number 5 to Utah. Number 6, Con Knipple, small forward from Duke. He's also one of the better shooters in this draft. The Pels get some size here at number 7. Kaman Muluak, center from Duke. Obviously, he's a guy that has a long way to go on an offensive end, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be a rim protector, shot blocker, a guy that's going to rebound at a high level. So he will definitely have a big presence in that regard. He's 7'2", and got close to like a 7'8" wingspan. So unreal. Jeremiah Fears, point guard from Oklahoma, got him for number 8 to the Brooklyn Nets. Kasparas Zakjanis, point guard from Lithuania, played at Illinois. Got him going number 9 to Toronto. He's a tall point guard, too. He's about 6'5", 6'6". Can really distribute the basketball and shoot it. Number 10, Jace Richardson, 6'3" point guard from Michigan State. Really good athlete. And also, he'll be an elite defender, I believe, as well. Portland Trailblazers, number 11, goes 6'8", small forward from Arizona, Carter Bryant. Another guy, 3-and-D. When the draft process started, about 8 weeks ago or so, he was probably the guy that was considered to go in the bottom of the first or early second. But he's a guy that's really climbed his way up draft boards in workouts. He'll definitely be a 3-and-D kind of guy in the NBA. All right, I'll skip around. Got the Hawks at 13. I'm assuming you want me to talk about the Hawks, Dre. Do you want me to talk about the Pacers or the Warriors?
We can talk about the
Listen,
Hawks.
all 3 of them. All 3 of them. You already know. All of them.
I was trying to be nice.
We'll talk about the Hawks. We got Igor Dimmons from BYU, was from Russia. Actually, he'll be like a 6'9" point forward, believe it or not. He can really run an offense. He's probably got one of the best IQs of any player in this draft. Not the most athletic guy, but really a smart player. Can really distribute the basketball, run the offense. Like I say, 6'9" with the BYU from Russia. And then the Hawks got a second first-round pick, too. Number 22, I'm taking Rasheer Fleming, power forward from St. Joseph, 6'9" big. The thing I like about his game offensively, he can post you up and he can step out and shoot the 3 ball too. So he's multi-talented on the offensive end. We'll skip around. Let's see. I think the only team out of all of our teams, the only one of us that have a second round pick is the Lakers. And so I got the Lakers at 55 taking Eric Dixon, power forward from Villanova. What's intriguing about him is he's 6'8", 265 pounds. I mean, he's built like Anthony Mason. And
listen, we need that.
But he's 6'8". 6'8", 265 pounds. He led the nation in scoring at Villanova. And he can shoot the 3-ball too. He led the nation in scoring, but the downside to Eric Dixon is that a lot of NBA scouts don't believe he'll translate well on the defensive end of the NBA. So that's the downside. But this is a guy that led the nation in scoring. He's definitely a guy that you worth taking a flyer on at this point in the draft and see what you can get. But offensively, like I said, he hit like 94 3-pointers last year in college basketball, led the nation in scoring. And you know, like I said, he's built like Anthony Mason. So he's a guy that's definitely can help you on the offensive end.
Yeah. Good stuff, Rob. As always, I'm hoping that we double down like the Falcons and get like 2 7-footers, man. So, but that's kind of what I hope, man. We got to get some 7-footers somewhere somehow. But I have no idea what we think. I do like Igor. You know, obviously he can run the offense. Kind of reminds me of a Josh Giddey kind of type, you know, point guard, kind of point forward type of situation. But we'll see how it plays out. They're definitely limited athletically, but I wouldn't be mad at that either. But I'm just like I said,
do we get like rising in this draft though? They got a lot of bigs that's rising. Hassan Yang, center from China.
Yeah, we got to work out with him too. He's 7'2". Yep.
I got him going number 30 to the Clippers right now. Danny Wolf, he's like 6'11", 7 feet from Michigan.
Maxime Renard, I like him from Stanford.
Yeah. You got Maxime Renard from Stanford, who's French, but he's another guy that's rising. Joan Beringer, another Frenchman as well. Got him going 25 to Orlando. So, yeah, there's quite a few bigs that's kind of rising on the back end of this first half of the draft.
It's hard. It's hard to kind of put that out there because you don't know. I would get like a defensive guy in the first one, and then just get like offensive guy second. That's what I would do. Just get 7-foot shooter in the second and get like your Thomas Sawyer, something like that. But I don't know what they're gonna do. We'll see. I don't know what the Hawks are gonna do. It's gonna be interesting.
Somebody's gonna do something wild. They're gonna there's the Giannis KD thing, which them talking about teaming up in Toronto is insane. That's not gonna stay the same. With San Antonio's got the 2nd and the 14th pick.
Yep, they got the 2nd and 14th pick. I think the Spurs are going to be in play for Giannis. Houston might be in play for Giannis. And number 10, they got a lot of assets they can offer Milwaukee. Yeah. Of course, the thing about it, OKC is in the finals and the favorite to win the championship. And they have a lot of assets they can offer to get Giannis.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
I wouldn't know. You know what? If I was down, what you seen from Jalen this year and Chet, and I was saying when I didn't want Chet, I felt like he was too skinny, and but it helps them have so much depth. I own it, but it helps they have so much depth because they don't have to rely on him for 35 minutes a game. They can rotate in and out. If I'm OKC, I don't do that. I don't. Yeah. If you're OKC, that should be one of the topics. What do you do with all those assets if the team you have right now wins the title?
Well, you know what you do, right? I think if you feel like there's a piece or two you need on your rotation, then you keep those picks and see if you can get some more rotational help. Or what you can do is, because they have 2 first-round picks, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they got 15, 24.
24. Yep.
They got 2 first-round picks.
44. They got our 44th pick from the Hawks.
Yeah. But the second-round picks, those they're not guaranteed to make your roster in the NBA. But you got 2 first-round picks, and they're guaranteed to get 3-4-year deals. If OKC feels like their roster is set, what I do is I trade those 2 first-round picks for later years when you think you might need them, right? So you can do that. You can trade them for later years. But if you feel like you need another piece or 2 on your rotation, then you try to add, another player or 2. I got him taking Asanu from Georgia at 15. I think he can be a flat-out steal for them, man. He's like 6'9", 6'10", really athletic, big. I think he's a sleeper in this draft, in my opinion. And if they stick with that pick. And then at 24, I think another sleeper, Nolan Traore, point guard from France. Right? Coming into this season, a lot of people thought he was going to be a top 5 pick. Kind of fell off a little bit.
Don't nobody want no goddamn Tony Parker.
What?
Said nobody want no Tony Parker.
I think all 30 teams in the NBA would take a Tony Parker type player.
Yeah, unless you got a Tony Parker kind of mindset and tear your whole locker room up.
Oh, well, he did win some championships.
Yeah, and he also tore some teams apart. So,
yep.
Wow.
He wasn't the most coachable guy, though. I will say that about Tony Parker. Yeah.
Man, you can't be sleeping with your teammate's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was a couple. That's a whole other conversation. We can talk about this in a whole.
Sorry, my bad. That's what was like. Nobody wants Tony Parker. So yeah, he's fighting that. I
well, listen. You can't just assume just because this guy is French that he's going to be another Tony Parker.
Yeah.
Sorry. Another straight bullet. My bad.
Man, JQ was on fire with those. Hey, we're going to talk about a nice little thread here, and after we talk about the thread, we're going to get to the predictions for the NBA Finals. So stay tuned for that, everyone that's watching. But I'm going to talk about an interesting thread here. Hey, if you guys want to get a lot of players, just trade Paul George. Paul George.
My goodness.
Is the link between Indiana and OKC. And we'll talk about this, right? So let's talk about how it all – now, first and foremost, in 2017, obviously, there was a situation where, Pacers traded Paul George to OKC. We'll talk about that for Victor Oladipo. We'll talk about that in a quick second. But initially in 2019, right, I'm pulling out my notes, right? So how did OKC build their roster, right? So they traded away Paul George to the Clippers and Russell Westbrook to the Rockets in 2019. Sam Presti, give him credit. This dude had a haul of first-round picks, right? He got 5 first-round picks, right? So then he ended up getting SGA in that deal, right? So he gets SGA, and no one knew that SGA was going to blossom to the MVP, but that's just
nobody saw that coming.
Nobody saw that coming. But the crazy thing was that's who we got in that trade, right?
Yeah.
So then they ended up getting these picks. They ended up obviously getting picks. They drafted Chet Holmgren in 2022. Jalen Williams was drafted. They had Josh Giddey, but they ended up trading him obviously to Chicago, and they get Lawson. Yep. So that's how. So this is kind of how they developed. So they did like a kind of this draft and develop philosophy. They end up having Chris Paul there to kind of mentor SGA, and Chris Paul goes out. So basically, Sam Presti resisted kind of this kind of fast rebuild. He's like, you know what? I'm going to focus on youth. I'm going to focus on team chemistry and defensive identity. So this organic growth happened, cohesion, maturity year by year. So you talk about just a situation where they just kind of had this mastery in picking, trading, taking high upside players with length and playmaking. They prioritized positionless players, and they avoided rushing their players. They redshirted Holmgren. We talk about that in situation. And you talk about this, and just they were flexible with the cap. They didn't get a lot of big contracts. They were like, hey, we're going to avoid that. We're going to keep everything underneath. We're going to keep our books clean. And nearly the entire core is actually on a rookie scale or team-friendly extension contract. So even SGA's max didn't hit until like 2022. So you talk about that's a blueprint for building an amazing roster, elite drafting. You got a franchise star, getting all these picks. They've got literally 30 future draft picks from 2025 to 2031, excuse me. 13 of those are first rounds and 17 second round picks. So you talk about it right earlier. They just keep amassing just like draft capital. So like you said, if they're like, you know what, we can trade it. We can kind of develop guys. This is a masterclass in how to develop a roster and how to just be a franchise. I mean, Sam Presti, you're my role model, my guy, because everyone else is shit in the bed, in other words. But this guy is just amazing.
Yeah. And, the thing we just talked about, those first-round picks, right? At some point, they're going to have to make a tough decision on whether or not they can keep Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and SGA. And that's when all those draft picks are going to come in handy. And so that's why I said that you can make the decision, even with the 2 you have this year. Do we want to keep them? Do we want to keep both? Do we want to trade one or trade them both, right? Do we need them right now? Do we want to backload them and give ourselves more chances in the event that we have to replace one of those, right? But yeah, you hit on it. The draft. They drafted Holmgren and Jalen Williams in the same draft. I mean, unbelievable, right?
Just mastery.
Yeah, and Jalen Williams. I know SGA gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so. Jalen Williams is another superstar in the making.
Easy. I say don't do that.
No,
don't do that.
No,
don't do that.
Nope, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna do it. Because he is an elite defender. He gives that team an additional 5 to 10 possessions a game, and he's developed his jump shot. And he's a team player. He's coachable. The kid is a super. I'm saying it. He's not a superstar now. He's a possible superstar in him. He's a star already. He was in an All Star game this year, right? So he's a star already. But this kid has superstar potential. When you watch OKC play, this guy is the main reason for them getting like 10 extra possessions. It's unreal how many deflections he gets his hands on, block shots, steals, and he has an incredible impact on a lot of their wins. And
2 words.
So what?
2 words. Jordan Poole. He's in a good system playing with the MVP who is playing out of his mind. If Jalen Williams decides, you know what, fuck, sorry.
You're trying to say that Jalen Williams is Jordan Poole?
Yeah, I said what I said out loud. Because if you overpay, okay. Listen to me carefully. He gonna have a good run. And if he don't feel like he gets paid enough money in Oklahoma City, I heard what you just said. If he feels like he's not getting enough respect and getting paid in Oklahoma City, and somebody terrible like the Pelicans or the Hornets or the Wizards overpay him and makes him the face of their league, their franchise, watch him not be the same Jalen Williams. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
is he good? Is he good in Oklahoma City? He's good in Oklahoma City. He's good next to SGA.
He's surrounded by talent.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't want him as a number 1 guy. I like him as a number 2. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
that's why
I don't know if Jordan Poole was the right comparison though, but
not like he plays like Jordan Poole, but I'm saying Alvin Harper.
No,
everybody thought Alvin Harper was the shit.
Jordan Poole was never as good.
What's talking about your team over there, Gary.
Jordan Poole was never a number 2 guy on the team, and he never was. That's
I'm not saying the way that he plays is like Jordan Poole. I'm saying the example of be careful of taking somebody in a good system playing along on the other side of a superstar, a la Jordan Poole with Stephen Curry and Clay, where you can bring him in, he could be the starter on that team in the bench role or whatever, and saying, hey, I can pluck that guy and make him my star and think it's going to work for me. But I think they might have that problem with Chet and Jalen moving forward, and that might be where they keep those picks and say, well, if that's how you feel about it, big baby, then go on and do what you do. Then we're going to find somebody else to come in here and fill this role and replace you. I'm not saying he's the same player in terms of what the way that they play the game. I'm just saying that he's in a really good system. He's in a great situation. I don't know if I would overpay for Jalen Williams if he decided, hey, I want to make $50 million a year. If I'm okay, I'm going to say, go ahead. Yeah. Not here, though.
Yeah. And the thing of it is with all of their draft picks, like no other team in the league, they'll have that ability to say just that.
Yeah.
We can replace what. When it comes down to USA basketball and the Olympics, I want Jalen Williams on my team because he's going to defend his ass off. He's going to defend you from the time you get off the bus. Yeah. And he's going to get you those extra possessions. Yeah. And, those extra possessions, I watched the Game 7 game against Denver, and he alone was credited for like 10 to 12 extra possessions, and that just blew the game out for them. And he has a greater impact on the game to me than SGA does. SGA obviously has the offensive game, but Jalen Williams has a greater impact on a game on the defensive end than SGA does. SGA brings it on the offensive end. But I agree with you. I don't want him as my number 1 guy, but man, do I want him on my team? Absolutely.
The point is though, that is he going to blow up in this thing and everybody starts saying that about him, and then he starts feeling that, and he says, I want $45 million a year.
And he deserves it. And he deserves
it. This is why I could be a GM. I'm not paying Jalen Williams $43 million a year.
He deserves it. When you got a guy like that that's going to give you all those extra possessions that translate to 20 to 30 additional points on a defensive end, he deserves it.
Defense wins championships, JQ.
I'll be his agent
today. Defense wins championships, JQ.
Don't make me remind you about one guy you said didn't deserve the money and then he wound up winning the championship.
Don't start talking to me about Chris Middleton's old broke down ass. He just got traded for Kyle Kuzma. And they regret that contract right now.
Like, I would not pay him. Contract. I will not pay him. The Bucks paid him and they won a championship.
And they did. And listen to him now. He traded, and nobody wants that sorry ass contract. Not as so.
Well, I think Milwaukee would take that one championship though.
Wow. Yeah, they would do. I mean, that's a discussion for another day because I feel like they do. But now you're sitting there with you had to trade him for Kyle Kuzma, who came out there and stunk. Well, now you got to trade your best player because you don't have no assets, and the dude you traded for Portland just tore his Achilles. So,
he can't stay healthy right now.
They're in purgatory for like 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
They're in purgatory.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll get to this.
Sometimes you got to pay that price if you're gonna win a championship.
I listen. I hear you. I listen. You're gonna never let me forget about Chris Middleton. I would still want to pay this punk ass, but.
Oh man, we got to get through this. We got to get through this.
If it comes down to it, I'm giving SGA the max. I'm giving Jalen Williams the max. If we got to part with Holmgren, we'll find another Holmgren.
That's fair. I'm still not going to. Well, I'm fair with the Holmgren thing. I'm not giving Jalen the max. That's the contract that's going to come back to haunt you with this first and second apron.
All right.
It works because he's not on that apron.
They're not now, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, Gary, stay tuned. I'm going to let you talk about the finals in a quick second, too. But I just want to do one more quick thing because this is going to be real brief. The only reason why I thought this was interesting was because, again, it involves Paul George. We talked about how Paul George was traded, from to the Clippers by OKC. But if you go 2 years before, you got to realize that Paul George was actually traded to OKC. This was in 2017. That's kind of how it started. So once that happened, believe it or not, whenever they traded, obviously, Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. That was the first trade. That move led them to eventually acquiring Tyrese Halliburton, and obviously the next trades happened, and obviously 2022. So these are all things that happened. Tyrese and Buddy Hield had happened. Aaron Nesmith, they got Benedict Mathurin, they got Andrew Nembhard, they got a couple of free agents, Pascal Siakam, Obi Toppin. We're not going to dive deep into that, but just as crazy how one player was involved in both of these teams. So obviously, 2017, him getting traded to OKC, that's what led to getting, obviously Halliburton. And then whenever OKC got, Paul George, they ended up trading him to the Clippers to get SGA. So it's just crazy how it's kind of like this full circle. And Paul George is the one consistent concept. So if you want to get some moves, trade for Paul George and make things happen. I'm just joking.
Too bad for the Sixers. I might as well want him now.
That's his new nickname.
I think that's the end.
That's great.
The Sixers, I think, are regretting that. But
yeah, that's tough. Hey, let's talk about some finals predictions, guys. What do we think is going to happen with this? Gary, I'll let you lead it off. You've been patient and quiet throughout our rants, but
I've been enjoying.
What do you say? As far
I'm going to probably watch this later on tonight.
Jordan Poole to Jalen Williams. I mean, that's going to start a rant right there.
Okay, so I
want to talk about the way they play basketball. We're talking about the concept of them.
I know.
I want to ask you guys, pick a team, okay? Point guard in the finals. Pick a team. Who's your team? Pacers
or OKC?
The best point guard?
Yes.
Who?
Well, I think Halliburton is the best point guard in the finals.
Okay. Shooting guard.
Well, that's easy. SGA.
Yeah, it's MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Small forward.
Jalen Williams.
Wow.
Power forward.
Is that
Pascal? Got to go.
Ooh. Can we talk about how they just robbed Halliburton? How do you give that to Siakam? I'm not saying Siakam wasn't a good player, but come on, man. Anyway, that's another rant for another day. They bullshit Halliburton on that.
Siakam Holmgren is almost a wash for me.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay, now center.
Well, offensively, Miles Turner. Defensively, Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Overall, I went with Turner.
I would have too.
Yeah, he's the three. Turner's Turner's a really good defensive player too. So yeah, I think I would go with Turner too. He's actually a really good defender, and he can shoot the basketball. I don't want Hartenstein taking any shots.
That little push floater. You don't like the little push floater?
And I've seen that dude have so many 5-foot air balls. It's unbelievable. I'm like, why is he shooting the ball?
Little push floater.
But so I do have to go back.
But he's not one on my team though.
But isn't SGA the point guard though, or because you got Dort and you got Nimhart, right? So are they the shooting?
I just don't look at him as a true point guard though.
I mean that's fair. I'm just like whenever.
But he has.
I didn't know.
That's what I was thinking about. Like he's the primary ball handler for OKC though. Like,
yeah, I guess if you look at their roster, you would have to say SGA is a point guard. So in that case, I would go with SGA over Halliburton.
Yeah,
I think you look at Lou Dort in the backcourt either way.
Yeah,
in that scenario.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about positionless basketball. We always talk about that, but whenever you say that,
watch it,
okay, now bench. Which team?
They both have a really good bench.
They do.
Yeah, I was torn on this.
I like Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso is such a game changer on the defensive end. Casey Wallace is another guy I really like for OKC.
Jalen Williams.
Yeah, and that's another thing with OKC too. Jalen Williams is like a point forward too. I mean, he handles the ball. He brings the ball up just as much as SGA does. Well,
I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to go with Indiana in 6.
Wow. Okay. Well, Andre may be picking Indiana too. He might be a little biased though.
I'm going OKC. I'm going OKC in 6. And the reason why is they're just like we talk about the bench. They can throw a lot of defenders at Halliburton at this juncture. And I do worry about, obviously Indiana has to go on a couple of runs. And I get it. OKC, they depend on their defense a lot. So
when you were gone, I picked Indy in 6.
You did not. I'm gonna take OKC in 5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. I plead the 5th.
Gentlemen sweep.
Marcy's saying OKC.
I mean, I think it's going to be a competitive series. I think it's going to be great games. I think
so too.
Games. I just think I
think the one thing that people don't realize is Indiana's got the best record in NBA since the All Star break. So this is not a fluke.
They do.
So this is a team, and they play at a real fast pace. The Rick Carlisle I think Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the business. We'll give him his credit, right? But I just like what OKC does on the defensive end, and everybody they put in the game defends. When you look at Jalen Williams, his impact on the defensive end, Chet Holmgren's impact on the defensive end, Isaiah Hartenstein, Lou Dort is a flat-out dog on the defensive end. I don't know if I said Caruso's name, but he's a dog on the defensive end. Jason Wallace, he does it on both ends of the floor as well, right? Defensive end and handles the rock, runs the point, can shoot the basketball. So I'm going to go OKC in 6. I do agree. I think this is going to be a competitive series, but I'm going to go OKC in 6. And I just think what they do on the defensive end and all the extra possessions they're going to gain. Tyrese Halliburton had a game against the Knicks where he had a triple-double and 0 turnovers. I mean, that was phenomenal. And he's going to have that kind of performance in order to beat this OKC team. If he can do that against OKC, have 0 turnovers, the way OKC forced turnovers, I don't think it's going to happen either. But if he does that, that's probably the only way they're going to have a chance of beating this team.
So this is why I'm going to say 5, and this is, I know I'm being silly, but honestly, the way OKC defends, you look at Caruso, who was defending Nikola Jokic, who you've talked about as being one of the top 2 players in the league, fronting him, giving him all kind of problems at 7 foot, and you put also Dort on there. So if I'm going to tell you that I'm going to put Caruso and Dort on Halliburton, and I can shut you down, not shut you down, but I can slow you down. Sometimes I can shut you down from running and doing the things that Halliburton wants to do with what the defenders I have in my backcourt, and that changes the whole complexion of what Indiana wants to do as a team. That's why I say OKC in 5, because defensively, that backcourt, if you stop Halliburton, you slow him down, you can stop and slow that Indiana Pacers team down. You can almost grind them to a halt. And that's why I say OKC. The way they play defense and with the bodies they can throw at Halliburton.
That's what I just said.
And that's what they're going to do. They're going to throw.
We didn't talk about Jalen Williams. We didn't talk about Jalen Williams either. You didn't talk about Jalen Williams.
Chisholm and Wallace at him. I mean, they can throw multiple guys at him.
Jalen Williams. Yeah, you can put Jalen Williams to play Siakam too. You know, there's so many different matchups.
To your point, Gary, who do you think is the second most important player for Indiana outside of Halliburton?
Siakam, I said.
Yeah,
that's not who I was going to say. I was going to say Miles Turner.
Oh, okay.
And if you talk about Miles Turner, now I've got Chet and Hartenstein to throw at him as well. Like they have just bodies to throw at you where I'm not just wearing one guy out trying to stop your other guy. I could take him out, put him on the bench, and bring another dude in that's almost just as effective as the other guy to wear that dude out. But you don't have somebody on the other side that you take that guy out of Siakam or Turner and bring in another dude, and they have the same ability. That's why I just think, okay, see the way that roster is constructed and the way they're playing, I just don't think that Indiana has enough bodies to throw at it. I just don't. I don't think anybody does. They've shown it. Like 81 and 20 or something this year, including the regular season, the playoffs, or something dumb.
60.
They won 81 games.
Yep.
In the regular season, the playoffs combined. That's foolish. It's just the Bulls and the Warriors, I think, are the only other two teams that have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta start putting some respect on Oklahoma City's name. We was waiting on them to be young and fold. They are not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, Denver, the only team that really challenged them, took them 7 games. I will say I think Siakam is the second best player and the second most important player for the Pacers, only because of his versatility. He's got the mid-range game, he's got the three-point game, he's got the post game, and he's a really good defender as well. Miles Turner is just a 3-and-D guy. I think Siakam is the second most important player. But that being said, I still think OKC is the better team and is going to win this series for all the same reasons that JQ just said. They just got so many 1 through 9. Everybody on that roster defends. Everyone. I mean, Case and Wallace off the bench defends. We talked about Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Chet Holmgren, Hartenstein. All those guys all bring it on the defensive end, and that's what sets them apart. And then, like I said, I know I've said this about 5 or 6 times. When you look at this team play, the additional possessions that they gain because of their defense, it translates to anywhere between 16 to 30 points just because of their additional possessions. But
OKC has also got one thing against them, and they've got the Schaefer curse against them. And that shit works.
Wow. All right, that's good stuff. Now, so sounds like we've got all 3 of us except for Gary are taking the Thunder, and we got Gary outside kind of going a little against the grain of picking the Pacers. We'll see what happens, so good stuff. We want to wrap this up, but I want to talk about a couple of relevant topics. Hey, Rob, just to avoid you redoing, there's a lot of good topics that can be recycled for next week, so we can keep a couple of them. You got some good stuff that aren't currently relevant. I know, Jazz Chisholm Jr. is back. That's a good talking point. I'm going to talk about that. Rockies winning their first series is pretty powerful. Mookie Betts is back. And then obviously,
wait a minute, you said the Rockies winning their first series was powerful? No, the hell it ain't.
Not powerful. Not powerful. I meant to say was platable. I apologize.
I was going to say stop it. It was 10 and 50.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty bad.
11 and 50 now. Give him credit to you.
Jim Marshall.
That was the worst season in the White Sox last year.
We got to talk about right now is Jim Marshall, the Purple People Eaters.
Oh yeah.
Rest in peace. 270 straight games he played.
That's incredible.
270, 130 sacks. He played 19 seasons. 19 seasons.
How many straight starts he had too? Not just the number of games he had.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
So
and he's probably most known for running the wrong way after he picked up a fumble. Remember that?
I remember my dad jumping up. Where the hell is he going?
What's the latest on Stephon Diggs real quick? Talk about that real quick.
Listen, probably still high. Sorry.
I was going to let JQ have that, but I was ready for him to have a response.
Listen, I just don't understand what's wrong with people. I get it. Cardi B, they do what they do, yada, 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 but you just can't be – give me your phones, put them in the bag. I will give them back to you when we get back to port. We're not recording, taping, anything. Listen, he tells us, I don't know what he said it was. that was some level of cocaine or something. Come on, Stephon, you gotta.
You can't prove it.
You gotta learn from OBJ.
JQ, you can't prove it.
I'm gonna finish with this. Do y'all remember when he was with the Vikings and the reporter went into the locker room and said, "Which player would you not let date your sister?" And almost everybody to a man said, "Stephon Diggs."
That says it all right there.
Go back and look it up.
Oh
when he
my
was with the
God.
Vikings, you know how they do that. Which player was you not? And he went around, and it wasn't even close.
40 guys point that way.
I said, oh, no.
I gotta go find that one.
I don't know, man.
It's a real thing.
Wow.
Well, after seeing that video, you can see why, though.
Oh my goodness gracious. Like I said, good stuff. A lot of good topics here we can discuss for next week because I do want to talk about Draymond's craziness, but he's the best player.
Oh gosh, what an idiot!
I've got a lot of stats about that, man. So not, not that we're, talking ish because Draymond is a
Bill Russell, Dennis Rodman.
Tim Duncan was a 15th year. He was a 15th year player. Tim Duncan, defensive player of the year 15 times. Bill Russell, yeah, I've got stats right here too, man. So Scottie Pippen was like 10 times. Scottie Pippen was like 10 times.
Though, I think Draymond Green is going to make a great broadcaster. He's really good on TNT.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah,
I thought he was too.
He's delusional, though.
If he leaves some of this bullshit behind, because he's not. I think he's maybe a top 15.
He's a good defensive player, no doubt about it.
In the modern era,
15-ish, maybe.
I've got the stats.
I'm gonna give him the top 10, but not
top 10.
I mean, if you watch what Draymond does for that team, you have to take it.
Go with top 10.
You have to take it out.
No, he's not. He's not top 10.
What you have to do for the people listening is we're all of a certain age where we're used to, hey, you got a 7-foot center, you got a 6'10" or 6'11" foot power forward. Like it was traditional ways to play basketball in the days we're talking about with those Russells and whatnot. But and what he did for Golden State and being their heartbeat and being their best defensive player and getting them to 4 titles, that's hard to argue against in terms of what he did for them defensively. For that team and setting the tone in the era where they made other teams have to copy them to try to play positionless basketball and spread the ball and shoot a bunch of threes. Like it's hard to argue with what he did, but not number 1 overall. That's wow.
No, yeah. But Marcy just said, no, he's not good on TV.
She doesn't
I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was good on TV.
I think he's good on TV. I think he can't go as hard as he wants to go on TV, but you can see it coming because he's still playing and he still has to play against these dudes. So he just can't talk 100% the way he wants to talk about them because he got to see them dudes next month. You know what I mean? Like I think when he gets out of the playing with them, when he can really fully be him, you'll get him. You'll get the second coming of Charles.
No, and I agree. I think you can justify putting him as a top 10 defensive player of all time because of I agree with JQ on that. But when you talk about best of all time, I mean you got to think about what Bill Russell did on the defensive end for that team, how he set the tone on the defensive end. You got to look at what Scottie Pippen did with those Bulls teams on the defensive end. He always guarded the best players on the other team. He really slowed down Magic Johnson in the finals, amongst other players. Joe Dumars, I thought, was a really good defender, even at his side. Dennis Rodman, of course. You got to put him in there. The way he frustrated opponents on
the Admiral, 10-time
Yeah. You just talked about it. Tim Duncan,
Rudy Gobert.
I ain't put Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert is an overrated defensive player. I don't understand.
I would put Draymond Green way ahead of Rudy Gobert.
I just said that to mess with y'all.
I don't understand the defensive awards he gets, to be honest with you. I think he's overrated as a player, overrated as a defensive player for sure. Dikembe Mutombo, another guy you can throw in there from a defensive standpoint. Another guy I thought was a real good defender, Hakeem Olajuwon.
He's on the list too.
Olajuwon was a heck of a defensive player, shot blocker. Alonzo Mourning.
Guys, you didn't
Wallace.
Guys, you didn't watch. I did.
Ben Wallace.
Cindy
Wallace was
Moncrief.
a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Who did you say, Sidney Moncrief?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sidney Moncrief was the lead defender. I forgot about him. Yeah.
Y'all are old.
There's also
Sidney Moncrief was a great defensive player.
Too, believe it or not, he was actually an elite. He was on the list too, as far as that. You had the names that we talked about.
Kobe Bryant.
But I do want to say really quickly how underrated Tim Duncan was.
Kobe and Jordan and LeBron were all so great, but they were all three of them were really good defensive players too. We think about what they've done in other areas, we kind of lose sight.
And they would go out and take.
Oh shit, they beeping. Sorry, go ahead.
They would take those guys would. No, I'm taking that guy. I'm taking their best player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and shut them down and become defensive player of the year, doing that game after game against.
Jordan also had Pippen and Rodman, so I know Pippen and Rodman most of the time took the best players, but you still can't slight Jordan for how good a defensive player he was too. But Jordan, for the most part, wasn't guarding other teams' best player because he had Pippen and Rodman to do that.
Kareem was just phenomenal defensively.
Yeah, so like I said, I've got this great list, and you mentioned Bill Russell. They were talking about how, this was kind of like pre-defensive player of the year awards, 11-time NBA champion. That was from the 1950s and 60s. So that's, we can go back all day about that too. But, getting this stuff. Tim Duncan was a 15-time All Star defensive team. Scottie Pippen 10 times. So this just goes you how these are great defensive players. And to talk about defense wins championships. So anyway, let's wrap this up.
But hey, I got one more name that we hadn't talked about. The glove. Gary Payton.
Oh yeah.
Larry Payton, man, he was a beast on the defensive end. Yeah.
And he'd always pick him up a 3/4 court or better.
Yes.
I can tell you about
he would talk trash and back it up.
And right.
Pick your pocket.
And tell you about it.
He will pick your pocket.
Kind of sad we don't have anybody that's kind of built like the glove anymore. Like you kind of remember, it's just a great defensive, this great defensive teams, man. It's just it's tough, man. It's not the same anymore, man. Kind of sad, man. So now ticky-tack fouls, man. But I digress. Let's wrap this up, guys. I know we've been going a little longer than needed, and we just had to get caught up and just wrap this up too. But yeah.
All right. Another great show. We'll wrap up on tonight. Hey, I'll be on vacation next week, so I'll be out of the country, so we might have to take a week off. And we'll be back the following week. So we'll keep you guys posted on when we're going to be airing. But make sure you stay tuned. We're going to be back.
Yeah, let's just take the rest of these topics and we'll go on next week.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how many vacations you going to go on?
What are we going on vacation last week? What that was Andre. What are you talking about, man?
You've been on vacation when we had to miss a show in this calendar year, sir.
That was 3 months ago.
Delta flying ass.
I'm sure all of y'all get like 4 or 5 week vacations, right?
I'm just jealous and better. Go ahead.
Man, I can't even get you on an international flight, man.
That is true.
No,
it's like Mr. T, man. We got to hypnotize you or something just to get you on the plane.
You got to knock him out. Hey, what's that? Oh, what happened? Here's some tea, JQ. Try this tea right here.
Guys are wearing skirts.
I pity the food. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks, people. So stay tuned. We're talking NBA Finals, NFL mini camps wrapping up as well. So they're about to take their vacation before training camp. So we'll be talking about that. A lot to talk about. Major League Baseball. JQ is the king of MLB All Star games. So I know he's going to be ready to talk about that in Atlanta. He's going to tell you where all the clubs at. He's going to tell you where all the parties at. He's going to be able to tell you where all the joints to go to for the Atlanta Major League Baseball All-Star game. He's your guy. He's your guy, people. JQ Jenkins. So we're going to definitely be talking about that in a couple of weeks. Where are all the spots in Atlanta for the Major League Baseball All-Star game as well. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll keep y'all posted. Good night, JQ Jenkins. He knows all the spots in Atlanta.
Don't stop lying to these people. Stop lying to those people. All you gotta do is go to the Battery and hang out. Make sure you
Uber. The Battery is nice. I like the Battery.
Oh,
no. JQ gonna have the people. What's that? Some of them strip clubs down in the heart of the city.
No, not Magic City.
Magic City. Lou Williams.
Yep. Yeah, I'll go. No, that's Strokers. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's coming out, folks.
Keep drinking, JQ.
Oh my gosh.
I'm getting out there before I get myself in trouble.
Just to let you guys know, the game is July the 15th, so keep that in mind. July 15th is the official game, by the way. So yeah, all good.
But you want to be here the weekend before for the Fan Fest and all the partying that weekend. You definitely want to be here for that. So if you get down here, come on.
Told you he's the guy. He knows. He is the MLB All Star Game guru. Never misses it.
Let's go. All right, gentlemen. Have a great rest of your evening and have a great week. We'll talk to you guys soon. Be safe, Rob.
Good night.
All right,
y'all.